So, can the Orokin ever be forgiven? It's a pretty interesting question. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, if you follow Warframe's lore, you'd more than likely say no, and then list off reasons like the Yuvan Theodore, where they kidnap children and transferred their consciousness into that child's body so that the Orokin can live forever, or the fact that they've turned entire planets into infested colonies, almost like a greenhouse, when testing the infested strain, or turning people into cephalons, or any other number of horrible things that the Orokin have done. So can they truly be forgiven? Or what is the context in them being forgiven? Is it in relation to the old piece? I guess the Devil's Triad is going to have something to show us. Now, I know I'm a little bit late to this, but I was at tennocon and then I flew home and then I got jet lag. So let's just jump into everything that was shown and talk about it and what it might all mean, because there is a lot to unpack. So first up, let's talk about the old piece. Okay, now for me, the biggest reveal was the old piece, which gives us a lot of questions about what we've known up until this point in Warframe's lore. We've only known about the old war, but now we know that there was a fragile moment of peace between Sentients and Orokin. We of course seen them fighting side by side against the Dax separatists on the moon of Proto, separatists who mentioned that they were promised a home, but the peace treaty seems to have broken that promise, which is why they are, I guess, rebelling or fighting against us. They want the war to continue, a peace that's obviously going to unravel and throw both sides back into conflict, and it's going to, I guess, restart the old war. Now, the trailer has sentients integrating into Orokin culture and vice versa, a sentient that needed glasses, which makes no sense whatsoever. Just adapt your eyes, you fool. Then there is an Orokin Academy, there is sentient Archimedeans, it has a very angry cephalon that doesn't like us for some reason, it has a hologram of Balas in it, which might point towards him being involved in this peace treaty, which might make things a little bit more complicated with him than we thought originally. We have Adis Truthbloom reviving dead sentients with what looks like the help of those blue flowers that are lying around. Adis can also integrate or transfer himself into a giant sentient like Eidolon called a Hunulus, which has a face that resembles the vessels we used to get to 1999. But this Hunulus is described on the Warframe website as being a sentient weapon of overwhelming force. Where Warframes are sleek, the sentients have gone for a more brute force approach when it comes to fighting. But Adis seems to be learning from our Tenno, learning about, I guess, what it takes to be a Tenno, and this seem to be genuinely good friends. Adis being able to heal or resurrect sentients, however, does open up some future possibilities, Hun Hao being one of them. But there are definitely more questions than answers until we actually get to play this update, like what happened to Adis after he took off that human mask. Our Tenno does say, I killed him, when our Tenno comes out of the water. Did she mean I killed Adis, or we killed Adis's friend, the sentient, at the end of that gameplay reveal? But it does look like DE are looking to solidify the story of the old war before they actually send us to modern day Tau, which is going to arrive, of course, next year. Now, whether that's going to be a massive open world or not, we don't entirely know. I'm assuming that it will be. But before we get to there, they need to make the lore or the backstory actually make sense, which is what they seem to be doing. So we have a concrete backstory and not just have us relying on years of fragmented codex entries, which is absolutely great and less confusing. So this timeline, whether it's real or not, is a pause on the old war. I say if it's real because it could also be a manipulation by Wally or Albrecht, or a different timeline just like 1999 was. It's even referred to as a polluted memory by Lloyd, so that could lead us to believe that maybe Lotus is feeding us some false memories, or maybe not. There is a really cool and really creepy still from the gameplay reveal, which does show a version of Margulis, and it's got me even more intrigued as to what this might mean, because there's no way that was put into the gameplay by accident. It's there as a reason, and it might be there to foreshadow something else. Now, us killing Adis's Hivekin sentient friend at the end of that gameplay reveal didn't help, that's for sure, especially when Adis takes off that human mask to signify that he no longer wants that human connection, and he sees us, I guess, for what we are. So was the old war really unavoidable, or did betrayal and treachery ruin what could have been a lasting peace? I guess we'll know later on this year, and I genuinely can't wait to jump in. Now, on top of the old peace quest, we also have a side quest called the Devil's Triad, which has the new Proto frames, the new Proto Wisp, who is a nun. You're all going to hell, and you know exactly why, so I'm not even going to have to explain that one. There is a Proto Harrow, of course, and there is a new devil-themed frame called Uriel, who, of course, is the U, the last letter of the alphabet that we needed for our Warframes. Now, they've said that we have 3 Proto frames being released with this update, which makes me think Uriel is the 3rd one. We just haven't seen the human form. Maybe the human form could be related to Rel's backstory in some way. But either way, I'm hoping that this backstory has the potential to give us more lore related to Rel and Harrow. There is speculation that Uriel has always been there. A silhouette is seen in the Chains of Harrow quest of what looks like a Warframe that might very well be Uriel, or an older version of Uriel, before I guess they've revamped his model right now. The other huge thing is that Uriel is the last frame designed by Minky before he sadly passed away. So for that reason alone, I hope that Uriel has a really good backstory and really solid lore attached to him as well. Now, during tennocon, we also got a very first look at the new ultimates or limit breaks coming with our focus schools, when Caliban Prime pulled out that huge sword and fired a massive exalted wave at the surface cannon. It had the Naramon symbol on it, and Naramon, of course, is the melee focus school, so it will be very interesting to see what the ultimates or the limit breaks for Madurai, and Uruk and all of the other focus schools is going to give us. We also know that there is a new focus school called the Tauron focus school coming, which I really can't wait to see what it gives us, but also how we unlock everything in it, how we go about, I guess, unlocking all of the nodes. We also know that they plan on touching up all of the focus schools to keep them in line with the new focus school as well. We got a look at Caliban Prime with his signature weapons, the Venato Prime and of course the Vendaria primed rifle, and they all look incredibly cool. Even the sentient summons for Caliban have a really cool look to them as well. But before the old peace update arrives, we have another unnamed update on the way as well. An update with a new Warframe that's described as a fun guy, so a mushroom-based frame. This update also has the long-awaited and much requested Oberon rework. It's got a new tutorial quest for modding so that new players better understand how to mod their weapons and Warframes. Lavos Deluxe skin is going to come with this unannounced or unnamed update as well, but we don't know, or we don't have a date as to when this update is going to drop. We just know that it's going to drop before the old piece. And I'm sure we'll get a look at Oberon's rework long before that on either a dev stream or on a dev workshop post. There is also a Warframe tabletop game coming if you enjoy tabletop games, and Warframe Android is going into closed beta as well. But the old piece is looking very, very interesting, and I genuinely can't wait to jump into it later this year to see exactly what it's going to lead to for when we get to Tau next year. Now, this year's tennocon was the largest it has ever been, the most viewed on social media that it has ever been. The concert was insane. Sitting down at the front and seeing all of it up close was absolutely mental. The guy on the guitar absolutely shredded it. I got to meet and speak to so many incredible tenno, and I don't think you can fully grasp or realize how amazing Warframe's community is until you walk around an event with thousands of them walking around past you as well, all from different walks of life, different ages, different cultures, all mingling and getting to know one another. It is honestly amazing to see what this game and what Digital Extremes have created. And I did sit down in the audience during the concert when the pyrotechnics kicked off and the cannons were kicking off in the middle of it as well. And I did turn around and look to the guy sitting beside me and say, what the fuck have DE just created? Because it was absolutely mental. Now, let me know in the comment section below what you're most excited for with the tennocon reveals. I will make a separate Soulframe recap video now that the Soulframe doors have opened to over 800,000 new players, because that gameplay from that reveal was really good, and the combat looks like it has seriously improved from when I last played it, which I think was Prelude 7 or 8, and it's now on Preludes 10. But the transition from going from that butterfly mode to the jumping into the air and firing the explosive arrows while also dodging and not kind of hitching or getting caught on, I guess, the scenery around you while you were trying to dodge roll away from the enemies was way more fluid than I have ever seen it. So like I said, I will do a separate video for that. But either way, like I said, let me know what you thought of tennocon. Have a great day, have a great week, and as always, thanks for watching.